So we are leaving Visoko to go to Zagorice, which is 7 kilometers southwest of, well, 7 kilometers by road southwest of Visoko. And we're going to look for some more pyramids. We have many pyramids here in Visoko, and there's the Pyramid of the Moon right there, the second tallest documented pyramid in the world. And over here is Osiela Hill, which is also a constructed hill. Just Google Osiela Hill and you can find my latest article on that. This is the Temple of Mother Earth right here, which Semir Osmanagic found after he discovered other pyramids here, other structures here. And so this is a really interesting structure. It's a curved crescent-shaped structure that sort of, we're leaving Visoko city limits just about 50 kilometers from here, 50 meters from here, just about here. And so this structure kind of bounds Visoko in. It curves in and it keeps the energy in. It could have been part of a structure to make a lake here or a sea, a small inland sea. That's the Pyramid of Love, that's the Pyramid of the Sun. And we're gonna go see if we can check out possible pyramids, possibly 3 additional pyramids in addition to the one that I found this weekend in Zagorice, which is a little village just about 5 or 6 minutes from where we are right now. If you Google Zagorice, Z-A-G-O-R-I-C-E, you won't find Zagorice village. You'll find 2 other towns called Zagarice in Bosnia. Why there are 2 towns called that, I don't know. And then there's this village, which is the actual place where these new pyramids are, or at least one new pyramid is. And just Google the Pyramid of Remembering and you can see that video. But the way you find this village on Google Maps is to Google Visoko Bosnia, V-I-S-O-K-O, and then just keep going in so that you have about a 10-kilometer radius all around Visoko or less, and then you look southwest, straight southwest, and you'll see Zagorice right there on the Fojnica River. It's spelled Fojnica River. I don't know why that is. It looks like it should be pronounced Fojnica, but it's Fojnica, and I think it has something to do with the fact that there's Bosnian language, there's Croatian, which is very close, but not quite the same sometimes. So I think there's something going on with that. So, like, for instance, razumijem is the Bosnian word for I understand, but razumem is Croatian. So if you look up Google Translator and you look Bosnian English, it'll say razumem, which is not correct. That's Croatian. And so I've been going off of Google Translator and doing my best, but then I'll hear that they'll say different things in Visoko than what I'm told by Google Translator is the correct word. So malo po malo, little by little, we will discover the correct words here in Bosnia for things, and hopefully some pyramids. So here we are in beautiful Zagorice. Not much happening here, just very few people. That's what I call the Pyramid of Remembering, which I explored on April 12th, 2015. And now I want to explore this other little structure that's right next to it. I wanted to get some photos of this concrete that I saw late, just before dark, on April 12th. And took some photos, but there wasn't really that much light, so I'm just going to get a few photos of this, because this is, I believe this is ancient concrete that has been exposed because of the road that was created in modern times here. So to level it out, they had to take away a lot of earth, and so what we have is this concrete, which is extremely reminiscent of other ancient concrete here in the Visoko, Bosnia area. We're just about 4.5 or 5 kilometers southwest of Visoko as the crow flies. To get here by the road, you have to go about 7 kilometers. So I believe this is the bottom, or near the bottom. I guess the bottom would be at the river itself, Foinica River. But I think this is the bottom of the pyramid of what I call the Pyramid of Remembering, which is right up there. And it's just tons and tons and tons of concrete and a little bit of soil above it, just a little bit of soil, you know, not much soil. And really interesting concrete. In fact, I'm going to get a sample right now of this concrete. And this is Anna at the base of the Pyramid of Remembering. Fantastic. Good to see you. Hvala, thanks for the coffee. Okay, ciao.
Okay, ciao.
We're going to find out right now if there's another pyramid next to this one, which is the Pyramid of Remembering. At least that's what it's tentatively called. And the way we're going to do that is by walking right over here. And as you can see, this structure ends, and this is the north face. We're looking south right now, and you can see there's the sun. It's just about midday. So that's the north face. It's facing north. And it's, let's see, eastern face is over there, and it meets another structure in a little crevice. So what I'd like to do is simply explore that crevice. Now, as I mentioned in the first video about the Pyramid of Remembering, taken on April 12th, there is a concrete and clay staircase between the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and it knits them together in a really strong, structurally strong way. Absolutely fantastic. And I say concrete and clay, well, it's definitely clay with alternating layers of some sort of hardened material, and it looks like concrete sometimes, and then sometimes it looks like they just heated up clay, and so you'd call it clay stone. So it could be a stairway of alternating clay and clay stone, natural clay and then heated clay, sort of blocks, rather large, sometimes rather large blocks of heated clay. But they might have put other ingredients in there. We have to analyze it. And so, malo po malo, little by little, we will find the answers. So I'm hoping to find something like that. I'm really expecting, in fact, today, to find a concrete and clay staircase right in this crevice. And we're going to find out if that's the case in the next 5 minutes. And if it is the case, then we know that there are 2 pyramids here and not just one. Jock out. Okay, so here we are. Let's look at this and decide if this is a natural crevice or between a hill and a pyramid, or if this has some construction stones similar to, oh, what's this thing? I don't know what that is. Pretty interesting, though. Let's get a shot of this. Let's see if we can get a better take on it. Pretty interesting stone. It's got a rectangular shape, but then it's got this incredible outcropping. So I don't know. Let's get close in on it just to get a good shot of that. Oh, here's some concrete right here. So this is looking real good. And we might have another structure up on the left. Let's see. We're looking specifically for the exact same kind of structure of a staircase between these 2 structures, staircase structure. But even if we don't find that, and I don't see it yet, this looks natural to me, that doesn't mean that this structure on the left is not a pyramid. It just means that they didn't use the same staircase knitting together structure on these two pyramids. So let's see. Here's a piece of concrete right here, and you say, well, that's just a piece of concrete. It could be from modern times. It could be, and if it is ancient, it could be have come from the Pyramid of Remembering. If you do have confidence that that is a pyramid, here's some more concrete. So we're finding lots of concrete. This is very, very, very good. Very good. This is very good. Very, very, very good. See if we can get some close-up shots of that. Tons and tons of concrete, just everywhere you look. That's very supportive of the double pyramid theory, because if you look on Google Earth, you see that the pyramids, or the structures, let's call the one on the right Pyramid of Remembering, and the one here on the left structure number 2. We'll call it structure number 1, structure number 2. Let's try that. You'll see that all they have is just a little valley between them. There's no, I mean, not a valley, there's just a crevice. It's a V-shaped crevice. There's no valley that spreads out, and so the crevice topographically just is the only feature between these, and that's just exactly the way it is with the Pyramid of Love and the Pyramid of the Sun. So I thought, well, wow. Okay, lots and lots of concrete right here. Yeah, very, very good. I'm just taking photos. A lot of my photos from April 12th, exploring what I call the Pyramid of Remembering, or structure number 1, didn't come out because there wasn't enough sort of direct light. Today there's a good direct sunlight, and so all these photos will come out, but a lot of them end up being real blurry because the camera didn't quite know how to focus in on. There weren't really good edges to focus in on in the shot. Wow, look at all these. So instead of having, say, 100 photos, I only had maybe 65 good photos yesterday, or April 12th. Yeah, tons and tons of concrete everywhere you look. Boom. Just like on the 12th. This is really good news. Now all this concrete could have come from that structure number 1, and not from this structure number 2. I'm hoping that it comes from both, or really I'm hoping that it comes from the one on the left, because I'm already convinced myself, even if y'all are not, that the structure on the right is a pyramid. So now I'm just wondering if the structure on the left is. So I'm hoping all this comes from the structure on the left. We do not yet have evidence of that, and we do not have any evidence of a concrete and clay stairway. This is just natural. It's just what any natural crevice looks like between two structures, two hills, anywhere in the world. Completely natural. So let's see more concrete. Let's see what we find. I'm really glad to have these boots on, because it was silly to wear shoes last time. I was slipping all over the place. Today there will be no slipping, and I'm going to walk right up a nice creek, and it's going to be nema problema, as they say in Bosnia. Nema problema. I'm going to get real close on this one just so you can see. This is also the color of a lot of the concrete and clay, in the stairway between the Pyramid of Love and the Pyramid of the Sun. There's a lot of yellow colored concrete or clay stone, depending on what we end up finding from analysis. And sometimes on the edges or the sides of these big flat blocks in the stairway between those two pyramids, you'll see it be like gray concrete, but then it'll morph as it gets to the top of the block. It'll morph into a yellow color, sometimes even orange like this one, and it looks like it's concrete turning into sandstone or something like that. Bizarre. But I call it clay stone or concrete. In the video I called it concrete because this does look like concrete occasionally. I didn't know what else to call it, but it's probably something like clay stone, heated clay stone. And that might also be our heated clay, which becomes clay stone. I don't even know if that's a geologic term. I don't even know if clay stone exists in the vocabulary of the geologists. Okay, so you know, if they built these, see, this looks exactly like what you'd think it would look like. Exactly how you would think it would look if it was two pyramids, because the slopes are similar, and they're continuing to be similar as we go up. So let's. Oh, this is really good. Look at this concrete. Holy Moses, that's a lot of concrete. Whoa, 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 whoa! Wow! Wow, it keeps going. So the concrete goes from here all the way to there, and that is that's about a meter. Let me just get back from that so we can see. That's serious concrete. That's exactly what you would think you would find at the bottom of a pyramid that you really wanted to have stay where it is. Now this direct sun is kind of making it harder to see this concrete. But let's see if we can get a good shot of it. That's a big piece of concrete right there. Very exciting, very exciting. And of course they did build, wait, here's a stone. Let me just go back a few feet and I'll show you this. This is looking like a nice construction stone here. Pretty small though. So we're gathering evidence that this could be a structure on the left, a built structure from ancient times. In modern times, no one would ever build a huge hill like this, because, well, why would you? There's just no reason. In ancient times, they did have a reason to do that. All right, now this is looking interesting, because this is, again, concrete, but right in the middle of the creek. And that's more like what I saw between the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. But it's not in a staircase, in a constructed staircase shape yet, but we're going to keep looking and see if it turns into that. Wow, more concrete. This is really exciting, folks. Really exciting. Now, oh boy, good. This is good. On the structure number 2 on the left, we have concrete up there. Oh, and there's more concrete. Oh, this is really good. I'm very, very excited, my friends. Very excited. This is really good. Whoa. Yikes. This is really good news. I'm just gonna take a picture of that, because that's about 15, 16, 17 feet up the hill. And that means it's a part of that structure. It's not from structure number 1 here. Because if something fell from this structure, it would fall right into this creek. It wouldn't fall 15 or 16 or 17 feet up. So we're looking at concrete on that structure, and that's really, really, really good. Good news. And this creek, whoa, that looks like a nice construction stone right there, right next to the creek. Let's get a wide shot and then come in. And I'm just gonna get real close just to get some good there. Just so that the real geologists can have a look at this, or concreteologists, or whatever. I'm hoping I didn't just get water on the lens from that creek. Okay, well that's kind of like a heart-shaped piece of concrete. Okay, let's keep going up. Oh my God, there's so much concrete, it's fantastic. Everywhere we go, there's concrete. And this is structural, or could be structural, on the structure number 2. So this is really good. Let's see if we can get a shot where that is. Okay, boom. Coming in close to see what we have. Yeah. Wow. Oh, okay, and there's concrete up here too. So this is sort of like Let's see if we can find it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It should be right there. Should be right. There it is. A little bit dark. So that is a piece of concrete. Way up the hill, maybe 18 feet from the creek here. Should get a close up if I can. Really good news for a structural element to this hill over here on the left, structure number 2. More concrete. Let's see if we can, 2 pieces of concrete right there. And let's see if we can, boom. Yeah, this is really, really good news. So this looks like, I'm betting, I'm just gonna make this bet right now that this is a smaller pyramid that's supporting this larger pyramid, and that we have a double pyramid structure, a paired pyramid structure, just like, exactly like the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Very, very exciting, and it makes sense because the people who built the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, or the intelligent beings, let's say that, we don't have to say people, but whoever the intelligent beings were who spent that much energy to do that, might have, and one could reasonably expect them to have, built similar paired structures nearby. And of course, you know, as you know from studying pyramids, because I know you guys are all fans of pyramids if you're watching this video, as you know from your knowledge of the Giza Plateau pyramids and other pyramids, there are lots of different styles of pyramids all around the world, and different construction elements, and it's fantastic that the array of artistically rendered and construction element pyramids, different construction elements all around the world, because the ancients, and I don't know if they were all the same people or the same beings or whatever, but whoever they were that built all these pyramids, whether it was more than one race or not, they had a will to build pyramids, and they would simply use whatever the construction materials were that were nearby. And in case of the Giza Plateau, they kind of had to go quite a ways away. Here, it doesn't look like they had to. Now, this is really, really good news, because I see a huge construction block up there. Now, this is about 15 feet, 14, 15 feet, this huge stone right up the hill. I'm going to get closer where the moss hasn't covered it so we can get a better look at the grain of this block. And boom, huge. Let me just, you know what, I'm going to get out my measuring tape because this is a really big block. Hold on. So this is the edge of the stone, and so this should actually come another 3 or 4 centimeters, but I'm just going to show you what we have here. That's 100 centimeters right there. So it's about 103 centimeters. This is just a preliminary survey to see if this is a pyramid, so I don't need to get a perfect measurement on the stone, this concrete yet, but it's about 103, 104 centimeters. That's a nice big block, and we could see, we could see what the width is by just doing this. Wow. Yeah, well, it's looking like about a little bit thicker than I thought. It's looking like 23 centimeters, 22, 23 there at least. Wow, incredibly large stone. And then, let me get the dirt off my hand so I don't get it on the camera. Then if we look up the slope, we see another piece of concrete. And I kind of have a feeling I'm going to start walking up the slope, but I don't really want to. I want to keep going up the crevice, but let's, oh my gosh, really big pieces of concrete up there. This is super good evidence that this is an ancient pyramid or ancient constructed structure. Very exciting here in Zagorice. Yeah, look at that concrete. Pretty darn incredible is what that is. Let me come back just a smidge just so we can see the whole piece. Really big, really big pieces. And it looks like the tree roots, because that's the top of the tree that sort of fell at a right angle to itself, and it brought up this concrete, and that's why it's sticking up. The tree roots got under it somehow. All right, so I don't see any more concrete on this little part of the slope of this structure. So let me grab my backpack, and we're gonna keep going up this crevice. It's really exciting, really exciting. Very, very, I mean, the adventure is unparalleled. Because as a kid, I would always want to find something, and I'd always be looking for rocks, and I'd find little agates and stuff, but this is more than finding an agate. This is very, very exciting. Now what this is, I don't know. Huh, oh I see. It looked like clay, but it's because there's a little bit of clay covering the concrete. It's concrete. There's a little bit of slime on there, like some kind of growth, plant growth. But here you can see, let me get some water. Here you can see it's concrete. Let me just let me get a photo real quick. Let us get a photo of some concrete. Boom. Let me come back and get a photo of this. So this is looking more like the stairway construction that I saw between the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. And it's not as flat and regular and layered. It's just a big, huge piece of concrete. It's probably about, well, let's see. How big is it? Actually, I'm gonna have to get way back to even get the whole thing in the camera, in the frame here. No, gotta get back farther. This is absolutely massive, massive amount of concrete. So it goes from the left side of the frame to almost the right side of the frame from what I can tell. And that means it's about 6 or 7 feet wide. It's about 2 feet or more deep or thick. So that's an absolutely massive amount of concrete. Now, as you see, as you go down, I was going to say it gets less steep, but I'm not really sure. It's really steep right here, but I'm not really sure if it really is less steep in general down there. Because I'm thinking if it is less steep, then that would be a reason why they wouldn't need as much concrete down there, because we didn't see much concrete. We saw little pieces. And now we're seeing a whole bunch, and maybe it's because it's so steep and that they need more concrete to keep it stable. But this piece of concrete that I just was talking about continues on up here. It continues on, continues on. There's one big, huge piece of concrete. It's probably at least 8 feet long up the creek, and maybe longer. If I wanted to dig, I could. I have a little digging tool, but there's too much more exciting stuff to find. So I'm just gonna keep going right up the crevice and see what we find. More concrete. Here's a big stone. This looks like the clay stone blocks that we see all around the complex. But you know, here's some concrete right next to it, and you see the difference. Both of those are, there's my foot, that's just for reference. Both of those textures or ingredient mixes, recipes for something hard and for construction are found in the pyramid complex. And so it's like, well, and there's variations on all these themes and different colors of concrete, different colors of what I call clay stone, and that might be sandstone or partially sand added to the clay. So they used all sorts of different, and here's a nice orange piece of concrete or clay stone. But all of this crevice is now what I see as artificial stones that have been put here, and not very prettily. It's not like it looks too designed as far as it's not like a Greek or Roman structure where everything is right angles and everything is perfect. They just sort of put a whole ton of concrete and concrete rocks and hardened clay rocks here. And they said, we're just going to pour some concrete here. Kind of like you see in modern times when somebody has a really steep hill on their property and they just pour concrete down the side to keep it from eroding. And it just sort of ends up being whatever it is when they pour it. So the ancients, looks like the ancients were doing the same kind of thing. Huge piece of concrete right there. And a smaller one here. Now let's look up here and see if we find any concrete. Huh, looks like there might be a piece up there. Okay, but you see the moldedness of this stone. You can see that pattern. Let me get back and then let me get real close so you can see how it looks molded. You know? It's so interesting. Like they were impressions, indentations, whatever, from some kind of mold that they were making the stones out of. But the molds, it's such an odd mystery because you don't see similar sized stones anywhere. All the stones are different sizes. Every single stone I've seen looks like a different shape, a different size. There's always similar but irregular, but not perfectly identical texturing on the top of many of these stones. And so it's not like they had a mold that they made 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 stones out of one mold. It's like they had a mold and they made one stone out of it and then they had another mold. But that makes no sense, that's too much work. So how did they get these stones in the shape they are in? You know, if we did it today, here's more really big piece of concrete. If we did it today, we'd use 2x4s and plywood as the sides and the bottom of the mold, and then we'd have a nice square or rectangular shape of whatever we poured in there, concrete, whatever. And that's how we do it, and it would always be 90 degrees. But with these guys, it's like, I don't know how they made these stones. I just have no idea. And there are people in the world who know a lot about this very subject, and I'm just going to document as much as I can. And then those very smart, very educated people can either come out here, so you can see the textured moldedness of this. They can come out here and they can do their own analysis, or they can analyze the photos, tell us what they think. It'd be better to get samples. I really have to get some samples. I'm going to try to wait till the very end so I don't have to carry them up the hill. It's just endless concrete up this crevice between structure number 1, which I call the Pyramid of Remembering, which is very large, and structure number 2. See, having been in the crevice between the Pyramid of Love and the Pyramid of the Sun, this is exactly how it feels. Super steep, kind of a winding path between the two structures. I mean, if that ain't concrete, it ain't nothing. So, another huge block of concrete. Getting close on it. Let's see. Some nice daylight. I mean, I'm not taking photos of every single piece of concrete I see. I'm now, it's so common now, I'm just going past the smaller pieces. Here's a nice big piece of concrete. Let's see if we can get that fully in, and then get some nice close in on it. I'm really happy to get this on video so that you all can share this exciting adventure. Absolutely fantastic. And I really think, my friends, we are going to find 2 more pyramids, and maybe even more, but I really think there's at least 4 pyramids in this little mini complex, mini compared to the Bosnian Pyramid Complex in Visoko, because that's just absolutely massive. I mean, the gargantuan scale of those pyramids is mind-boggling. Now, these are smaller pyramids. On the April 12th video where I explored this structure number 1, what I call the Pyramid of Remembering, I said something like, oh, it might be as big as the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon. But looking at the video that night and the next day, I really don't think it's that big. really anywhere near as big as the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon, which is the second largest, tallest documented pyramid in the world. I think it's more like on the scale of the Bosnian Pyramid of Love, which is the smaller pyramid next to the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun in Visoko. And then this one is smaller than that. So, but it might be in the same ratio, kind of looks like the same ratio, just as a ballpark estimate between the sizes of the pyramids. So this pyramid on the right and this pyramid on the left, let's say this is 2 units and this is 1 unit. And Bosnian Pyramid of Love in Visoko, which is on the left, let's say that's the Bosnian Pyramid of Love, that's about 2 units compared to this, which is 2 units. And then this Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is maybe 3 units. So, you know, that's just a guesstimate, but just to give you an idea, I think these pyramids are smaller, much smaller. Now there's tons of concrete. I'm just walking on concrete. It's everywhere now. I don't know if this moss is covering a huge concrete stone. Let's see. What is it on? Let's see. Huh. Because the moss usually goes for the concrete, and it's all covered, so I don't know exactly. So we'll find out down the road when other people come to investigate. If it is, it's the biggest piece of concrete we found yet. Let's keep going up the creek, malo po malo, polako, slowly, because there's lots and lots of sticks now, and I don't want to slip. Let's just do it slowly. I'm so excited. I want to run up this crevice, but oh, another big piece of concrete. I'm gonna get my boot out of there just in case. Well, actually, let's just take the sticks off of there because we can. Okay. I'll write to you. And get my boot out. Boom. Thanks for hanging in there. Oh, get my boot out. For this incredible adventure. I'm gonna get in close just to see what we can see as far as the grain of this stuff. All right. I don't want to bore anyone with my continual rambling, so I'm going to try and think of things to say that are interesting. To add to here's some massive amounts of concrete here. More concrete. So we don't find the stair step as we did between the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. We do not find that yet, because it was really regular, it was layered, it wasn't regular in the sense of 2 inches of clay and 2 inches of concrete, but it was back and forth, different widths of layers of those two substances. And we don't find that here. All right, here's a big something. I don't know exactly what that is, but let's get close on it and see. Get a good shot. Here's some concrete right next to it. And we'll get close in on that. Okay, and the two together. Boom. Now I just got some water in my boot because my boot is not actually waterproof, it's just water resistant. And that is okay, because, let's get close. Get close on this stuff. When you're on an adventure, certain things don't really matter that much. If you're walking down the streets of Visoko and you get water in your shoe, it's kind of like a really terrible thing. But it doesn't really, it might even add to the experience if you're out here tromping up pyramids that haven't been seen to be pyramids for how many thousands of years, I don't know. This is clearly concrete, so the moss is telling us it's concrete, and then we can document that it is, because there it is. Let's see if we can get a photo that really shows that. And you can see that long, regular edge of that. I'm expecting to see massive amounts of concrete exposed up there on the left, but haven't really seen that yet. Another piece of concrete. How can I entertain you more as we walk up this structure? Yeah, well, if indeed these are pyramids, then the ancients were geniuses, because if they are pyramids, they're probably built around the same time as the other pyramids. There's no way to really know that yet, but a good guess would be that they are built at the same time or near the same time. In which case they're around 34,000 years old. That's our best estimate for the Bosnian Pyramid Complex in Visoko. Which means that if they survive 34,000 years and they're still here, still standing strong, that is absolutely phenomenal. Because in modern times, when we build something, if it lasts a couple hundred years, that's pretty darn good. 200 years, well, this is 34,000 years. Could be 34,000 years. And that is amazing. I'm not going to document every piece of concrete because I want to get up further. But I want to show you the nice pieces. And then, yeah, this was kind of got a nice, wait. Now let's see this here. You can see the edge of that piece right there. And nice straight edge, but then you've got these roundish pieces too. So it's not like, oh, all they did was make straight edge pieces. They also did just kind of lumpy rocks, and you're like, lumpy pieces of concrete. So you're like, well, and I just stepped on a huge piece of concrete to get up here. Here's a nice little piece right there. Let's see, boom. Oh, let's get over here, wait. Oh yeah, there's a big piece up here on what I call the Pyramid of Remembering. Let's get closer to it. Let's see if we can get a nice close-up of that. Yeah. Well, yeah. And even closer, just to satisfy the skeptics, that is concrete. Okay. Why is it out like that? Well, again, we can see there's a tree right next to it that came down, and the tree roots might have gotten under the concrete, and when the tree fell, it might have leveraged that piece of concrete right on out of the ground. Makes sense. All right. Because the ancients don't build no structures where the concrete's just scattered around. They put it where they wanted it. And oh, here's another nice big piece right in the creek. Boom, and we'll get close in so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, there's the mottled gray feeling that you often see in modern day concrete, where it's not quite perfect against the side of the mold. You know, it's because, you know, you in the perfectionist society, you want the perfect smooth concrete on all sides, whatever you're making. But sometimes there's not quite enough water in the concrete, or it doesn't get pressed hard enough against the mold, and you see the modeling, and that's exactly what you have there. Here's some, oh, this is really good. Here's some concrete in the side of this structure number 2, whoa! And that, my friends, is, this is a really big branch, so I don't want to do anything crazy, but let's just do that. we can. There. So we have a structural, what seems to be a structural piece of concrete in the side of this. I'm just gonna get real close. Boom. In the side of this structure. So that's really, really, really compelling evidence that this was built. And the sides continue to angle in at the same angle. And someone will come in, some dedicated mathematical minded scientist will come and measure these slope angles, and it'll be great. I'm not really a numbers guy, so I'm not the man for that. This is a ton of concrete. This is a structural, seemingly structural, massive piece of concrete on what I call the Bosnian Pyramid of Remembering. And that is really good. It all makes sense. Because if you're going to have structural concrete, or what seems to be structural concrete on the left, then you would also have it on the right. If they're both built structures. It all makes sense. And there's really little that makes perfect sense here in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex area. There's so many mysteries, and that's what drew me in 2011 to come here, because I heard about it on Facebook, and I said, in the summer, early summer, and I said, well, that's clearly insane. There's not going to be ancient pyramids in Europe, because no one had ever thought, at least I hadn't done the research to know that there are actually lots of ancient pyramids in Europe, Italy, and all sorts of places that have already been found. And if you want to discover some of those, you can go to European-pyramids on the internet. EuropeanPyramids.com, I think it is. Gabriella, just search Gabriella European Pyramids, you'll find her site immediately. Tons and tons and tons of pyramids all over Europe. But in 2011, I had no idea that there were pyramids in Europe. So the idea that someone says, oh, there are pyramids in Bosnia, I just said, well, that's just gotta be nonsense. But instead of just commenting on his Facebook post, that's nonsense, I did something that most people don't do. I went to research it. Because I wanted to know something so that I could say something that was not just my opinion. I wanted to say, no, that it's not pyramids because X, Y, and Z. Some fact, some photo, some geologist showing us a good photo that shows that it's not really a pyramid. Oh, the bugs like the lens for some reason. And I went and I found immediately Dr. Semir Osmanagic's Red Ice radio interview. Actually, I watched a lot of interviews that he did, and he wasn't some crazy guy. He was a man who was talking in a very non-emotional way, a very methodical way about the facts that he had discovered about a pyramid complex in Bosnia. And I said, okay, I'm absolutely certain from listening to this man now that there are pyramids in Bosnia. So I never went back and said, it's a hoax, to that Facebook post that I'd originally read. I just emailed Semir and I said, I want to come out and volunteer. He said, all the slots are full this summer, 2011. And I said, well, I'm coming out, I'll see you there. And so I was an unofficial volunteer. And this tree on structure number 1 fell. There's a little indentation there where the tree fell. Indentation in the pyramid, interesting. And the pyramid still stands with these trees falling. Some rough concrete here, boom. More concrete, it's covered with slime. Now I can recognize the plant growth or the algae growth that is on the, that makes it look less like concrete, but it is concrete once you take the algae off. So I came out and volunteered. I said, hi, I'm that guy that wrote you. And of course, thousands of people are writing him all the time. He's like, who are you? I got in his car at Ravne and I said, I just got into his car because he was so busy and there were so many people and I couldn't talk to him. So I just got into his car with him as he was leaving. And he said, who are you? He was very nice. Who are you? And I said, I'm that guy that wrote you those emails and I sent you my stonework pictures and he didn't know who I was, so I said, look, I can help you, and here are the ways I can help you. And I listed a whole bunch of things I could do. And he said, well, why don't you organize the scientific conference? Which is to say, yeah, I mean, the conference had already been organized for that year, but they needed someone to help the 20 or so scientists with their plane tickets and make sure that they got picked up and make sure they had the proper hotels and, you know, whether they wanted roommates or whether they wanted vegetarian meals and all that stuff. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. So even though I'm not really a good organizer, that's what he needed. So I said, sure, I'll do that. And I got out my charts, my chart program on Microsoft Word and made some tables and, you know, tried to keep it as organized as I could. And met the scientists when they came, met them at the airport with his wife, and made sure they knew that they were taken care of, that we cared about them and all of this. And Samir really gets excited when a scientist says he wants to come here. He gets back to him within like 3 minutes. If any scientist ever emails him and says, I want to do some work on your project, he's like, please come out ASAP, we'd love to have you. If someone emails him and says, I found a pyramid in Greece, he doesn't get back to him usually because people email him all the time about pyramids in different countries. He's got all he can handle with his complex of pyramids here in Bosnia and his business in Texas, which helps to fund the excavation here in the winter months when the money runs out from tourism. So, I helped him with that task. He put me up at the Pyramid of Sunsa Hotel for that time, and then during the off hours, I started making these little amateur videos with my amateur. It was not even a prosumer, it was like a amateur camera I was using tape, not even digital back then. So, but I kept pounding the internet with interviews with tourists, interviews with scientists, just rambling videos of me walking around pyramids and stuff. And he liked those, and so in 2014 we were still talking occasionally because I wrote some articles about the pyramids, and he was grateful for those. And he said, why don't you come back in 2014 in the summer and get some really good video technology, good camera, good laptop, Final Cut Pro, and make some scientific videos, short scientific videos that, okay, here, let's look at this. This is structural concrete. And I want to get up there because that is really compelling. I want to get right on up there. So let's go up together. Let's make it up there if we can here. Whoa, whoa, baby. Glad I got the boots. Glad I got the boots. Now, I'll just use this. Use this too. Let's see, wait. Let me come back so you're not totally freaked out by the movement of this camera. Okay, this is super steep. And I remember trying to get out of the crevice between the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and it was almost impossible. But there was a modern path that you could kind of scrape your way up if you had the willpower. This is about as high as I can get. It's just too steep to go up, so I'm gonna go as close as I can to that and hope for the best. See where there it is. Okay, get a photo of that. Just come back so you can see the length of it. It's about that long, and then come in on it. Oh, compelling, very compelling. And I'm going to give you another angle of this in a second, where you can see the hillside in relation to it. So there it is in relation to the hill, or in relation to the structure. It looks like there's another stone up there. You can see the moss on it, and there's more concrete there. Let's go in close on that. And there's moss on the top, but you can see that it's concrete below that moss. So here we are. Significant structural, to what looks to me to be structural elements exposed on the side of this structure. The standard moss that grows on the concrete we've seen before, and we can see it's concrete. Boom. There it is, concrete. Let's see, concrete. So, and there's some more concrete. So I think this tree has perturbed, pretty big tree. This tree has brought these up. That's my feeling. That's pretty great, that's pretty great. Okay, piece of concrete. Just sitting here in the crevice. Again, we ask the question, who in modern times would bring all this concrete up here and what for? And the answer is nobody, and for nothing. There is no reason to bring tons and tons and tons and tons of concrete up here and just make blobs and different shaped stones and dig out the sides. Wow, look at that, wow. That is, let me just get back because that's an incredible shot right there. That is incredible. So who's going to come here, dig out the hill, and then put concrete in, and then let the hill come back to where it was before? That makes no sense. We see dug in concrete everywhere, and that means it's old. How old? We don't know. Is it 34,000 years? We don't know. Huge piece of concrete here, absolutely massive. Look at this thing. Gotta get back. Wow. Gonna come in for the grain. Boom, you can see it's concrete. It ain't something else, it's concrete. I got people, I show that there's concrete in the stair-step structure up the crevice between the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. And I had somebody comment on the video, he just said, bullshit. You know, like, and I'm like, well, what's bullshit? I mean, it's concrete, you can see it. And then the question is, what kind of concrete? What specific ingredients? But you know, you have to use your eyes. You have to use your eyes. And your eyes can tell you what things are. Now this is extremely impressive. Yeah, this stone is my favorite stone so far. Let's get close in on it and see what it is. Oh, just guess what? It's concrete. Boom. And you can see that it is. And you got the standard moss that grows on the concrete that for some reason it really loves the concrete. Let's take this angle. See if we can get the whole thing in. Let's go below. Like that. Oof. And of course, we got more over there, right next to it, sticking out, giving us more evidence. Oh, and there's a big piece of concrete right there on structure number 1. Boom. A little bit closer just to let people see that it's concrete. The left side has good. There. Okay. More concrete here. There's one stone, and then I'm going to come back to show you that there's 2 right next to each other. Boom. Like that. More concrete. Let's see. Yeah. Well, it's good that we came up, I think, because some compelling, large blocks up here, and you can see that, you can already see up there that there's a massive block. Let's just see. Right there. Boom. So we're going to go check that out. It's kind of like a carrot in front of a rabbit. You know, the rabbit just keeps running, and if I keep seeing big pieces of something, concrete or whatever, above, I'm going to keep going, because that is very magnetic. There's another piece right there. And you say, but that's not concrete, is it? And it's like, yeah. it is. And remind me to get a sample, because I did not get a sample on April 12th. I was really tired, I just forgot. So I'm going to get a sample here before I leave this crevice. That is the plan. Oh, more concrete on structure number 1. Let me come back a smidge for that. Boom. And then a nice compelling concrete shot. Bam. Okay. Let's see if we can slide up here. Now, you don't have to believe me, but this is concrete here, and it's a huge block. Huge. So we can get back from it, and it's all covered with slime. And people say, "Oh, it could be anything," but it's concrete covered with slime. And over here, where there's less water and less slime, you can see the nature of the concrete. Let's get close. You can see that it is absolutely 100%. You guessed it, concrete. All right, I hope you're not tired of me rambling. That's my only real concern right now. How am I going to do this? It's really steep right here, because there's a stair step where this concrete is. Significant stair step. Oh yeah, okay, let's see. If I had something to grab onto, it'd be really, really good. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Whoa! All right, we're getting near our nice, oh, and that's something too. I don't know exactly. That's kind of a conglomerate, or what do you call it? An aggregate of, oh, I guess it is pretty significant. Let's get close in. Concrete, it's just kind of, it's a little bit lacking in the binder, and there's more stone cropping out. Let's see. But I want to get up here and see this fantastic behemoth. Yeah. Incredible. We'll get a shot from far away so we can see what we're looking at, and that's the crevice between these magnificent structures. Wow. So I feel so lucky to be here. Okay. And here we are. There's a shot from here. Okay. Okay. Well, my friends, here's an animal bone, it looks like. And I'm just going to toss that right over there. So we get a nice, well, let me just get close in on, take some close shots of this concrete. That's right. Massive block of concrete. I'm going to get out my measuring tape. 3.5 feet. And a meter being slightly more than 3 feet. So this is a meter and more. So, but let's check it out. From there, let's see if we can, from that edge, which goes down there, you can see, and that's approximate, could be longer, could be shorter. That's 150, 160, it's about 165 centimeters, which is even more than I said. I said 3.5 feet. This is more like, let's see, 165. I wish I knew the conversion, but let's just say it's 165 centimeters. 2.54 centimeters equals an inch. That's a big piece of concrete, my friends. Let us say that. Now a meter is 100 centimeters, right? Which means that this is 1.5 meters plus 15 centimeters. Huge. Which means it's a yard plus half a yard plus some plus a little bit more. So that means it's 4.5 feet. It's probably about 5 feet, this thing. Let's say it's 5 feet, almost. Nice. I hesitate to tell you this, but there's some chemtrails above the structures. I am not happy about that. I've been seeing them. I didn't want to mention it because I didn't want to bring down a downer to this incredible moment. But you know, the reality is reality, and the Rothschild bankers are chemtrailing the hell out of our world, and it's really bad, and people are rising up slowly, and we're gonna get them to stop. And we have to keep spreading the word about it. Many days here in Bosnia, the last 10 months, I could see 60 to 80 chemtrails per day or more. And that does not make me very happy. Yesterday there were at least 40 and probably more like 60 or more. And when it's cloudy, you can't tell if they're chemtrailing. So you need a relatively sunny day to know what's happening. And the weather channels, all the weather people have been told to say nothing about chemtrails. So if chemtrails do show up, they just say, oh, and these are some, they go out of their way to say what they are, as if we need to know that. Oh, these are some contrails, just jet trails, and they're told what to say. Those aren't their own words. Those are, if you want to have a job, this is what you say. Say nothing about chemtrails, period. And that is documented. So we are being lied to consistently by the news. How about that? How do you like that? How do you like being lied to every day? How about poisons being sprayed on you as if you were some kind of cockroach? Being sprayed with Raid. There's another structural stone. You get a little close on it so you can see what the heck it is. So Google Visoko Bosnia and then just look about 3 or 4 kilometers southwest, straight southwest of Visoko, and you'll find Zagorice. And as you cross the little bridge into Zagorice, this tiny little village, right in front of you as you're walking south is what I call the Pyramid of Remembering, which is this structure on the right, structure number 1. And then right next to it, as you'll find on Google Earth, is this other structure. Okay, here's some structural something, it looks like. Possible structural stone or concrete. There's a little scum on the top of this long concrete thing. It's probably, from what I can tell, it's about, just a guesstimate, about 25 feet long, all concrete in this crevice. So I'm taking the slime off of this so you can see it better, and the stone in the concrete begins to appear, and the rough texture of the concrete begins to be felt, and you can see, and then there's the slime, and there's the de-slimed concrete. Let me just get a photo of that. And boom. Okay, structural concrete right here, boom. And structure number 2. What looks to be structural concrete. Looks to be structural concrete. Let's get even closer on it. You can see what you're looking at, boom. What looks to be structural concrete. Right there, boom. What looks to be structural concrete here. Come back from it. We can, let's see. Just take that shot, and I want to show you a little bit closer. Whoa, so you can see, I don't want the water to splash in. And then, even closer. What can be seen as we keep going up? I see little hints of concrete, but there's a lot of rubble, refuse. Detritus is what I want to say. Lots of sticks, lots of leaves. Wow, it gets really steep here. Look how steep that is. Huh, interesting. So this side is super steep compared to this side, which is merely very steep. Right here, I see no reason not to keep going. Look, I mean, I got energy, I got time, I got a battery that has, like, let's see, 351 minutes on it. That's 5 hours and 51 minutes. And that is good. That's more daylight than we have. Okay, big thing of concrete. This is looking more like the kind of thing in this alternating clay and claystone or clay and concrete
stairway between the Bosnian Pyramid of Love and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Nice flat step. Wow, big piece of concrete right there. Let's get close. Kaboom. Kablam. This massive piece of concrete here. Here we are, we got energy. That's a deep pool. I don't really want to step in there because, as I mentioned, these are not waterproof boots, and that's okay. Yo! Alright, now this is concrete. Boom. I'm gonna get closer. We can get a nice shot. Bam. Oh, yeah, I mean, and this is on the right side of the crevice next to the bottom, the very bottom of the structure number 1. Here's some more concrete. Let's see if I can, there it is, bam. This is real time, except for when I'm cleaning the lens, so you can see, whoa, you can see the entire journey. And you can be with me feeling exactly what's happening in the real-time moment. And that's very good because everything is also cut up and chopped up on the internet in these videos, and you never know what's happening. So this way you know what's happening. If you get bored, I apologize. I'm trying to say things that will keep you amused. Maybe I should just shut up. I can hear a resounding, yes, shut the heck up, from the internet already. And, whoa, okay, more concrete. Concrete-like material on structure number 1. Okay, getting closer so we can see what we're talking about. More concrete right in the crevice. Could have been from structure number 1 or 2. Getting close on that. Bam. And, oh yeah, and then right under it is also concretey. Let's see there. There's the wide shot. And we're going to come in real close. And then for this one, we'll just do this. It's got kind of a modern day gray look to it, and gives us more confidence that this is in fact concrete. And there. Okay. Oof. Another little piece of concrete. Boom. Wow. Well, they sure love making concrete. How about that? That's my narrator addition to the video. Boy, those ancients, man, did they love making concrete. And why did they love it so much? Mr. Scientist, can you tell us? Well, not really sure. Because I wasn't around here an estimated 34,000 years ago. I didn't get the video from that era, before the last ice age. And there have been continuing ice ages on planet Earth for most of its history. It's generally been a cold planet if you look at the data, with occasional spells of warm weather. And it was at one time completely covered in ice and snow, and it was called Snowball Earth. I mean, that's what they call it now. That time period when it was completely covered. I'm not sure what the numbers are about as far as how long ago that was. But look up Snowball Earth. It was cold. And so, you know, having sun like this, having summers is really rare if you look at the ratio of cold days to warm days on planet Earth throughout its entire history. Now we have, so I'm very thankful. Let's look at this thing. Just a big old piece of concrete just sitting upright like it owned the place. And why would you have that? And you're like, well, maybe it fell. Fell from where? Fell from a structure, perhaps we might say. I don't want to give you leading questions and then answer the questions for you, but I guess I just did. That looks like concrete. Sorry to have to keep saying that, but you know, I'm not saying I'm Einstein. I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy on the planet at all. I'm embarrassed at my my lack of acumen and perspicacity and intelligence in general, often. And so, but I will tell you that there are scores and crowds and a plethora of idiots on the internet. Idiots! And they will continue to libel and slander Semir Osmanagic and the volunteers and say that there are no pyramids in Bosnia, even though we keep taking copious photos of concrete and textured stones and beautiful terraces and incredible ancient stonework. And so the remedy to me is to simply continue to do science and overwhelm the idiots with data. And that's all you can do. There will always be idiots, but the more data you have, the better you sleep. Let's just say that. Here's a nice big piece of concrete. Come on, idiots. Tell me this isn't concrete. You stupid fucking idiots. Sorry. It's just, you know, it's a little frustrating to continually deal with, you guessed it, idiots. Now, I'm as skeptical as the next guy about new things, new discoveries, just as I was with this complex, the Bosnian Pyramid Complex in Visoko. But the trick is not to just be a dick and say hoax. The trick is to do some darn research and then say it's a hoax because A, B, and C, X, Y, and Z. That is what you need to do. If you're going to be a skeptic, you got to have data. You got to have some knowledge behind your opinion, just like they have knowledge behind their opinion, otherwise they wouldn't be posting it. They have a picture, they have an article, they're linking to something, or they went somewhere and explored themselves and they said, hey, check this out. There's a pyramid in wherever, you know, and then you say, well, here's my data, because I went there too, and here's my photo. So that's the way it should go. That's a conversation. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of opinions that have nothing to do with anything reasonable or rational. Let's see if we can get all these little pieces in one shot. Boom. And if that ain't concrete, what in goodness name is it? So the Robert Schocks of the world no longer have credibility. Not that they ever did, because if you're performing anti-science, then you don't have credibility at all, even if you have a PhD. If you're just pretending to be a scientist because you have a PhD after your name, but you're not actually doing science, but just saying things, then you don't have credibility at all, period. Now, the fact that people don't know that Robert Schoch has no credibility is not my problem. It's their problem, because they'll continue to believe someone who's performing anti-science. And by anti-science, I mean literally saying things without even without even pretending to get evidence, without getting evidence, but just sort of coming up with sentences that sort of are about things that he doesn't have photos for and doesn't have research on and didn't check other people's research on. So it's like, that's anti-science. That's what most of Facebook is people just saying things without providing any sort of evidence. So yeah, the fact that Robert Schoch has no credibility is is well known among those people who have studied the evidence that he has or has not presented. And that's what I did in my article, The Mysterious Anti-Scientific Agenda of Robert Schoch. And some people say, well, you can't really call it an agenda, that's unfair. You could say the mysterious anti-science of Robert Schoch. And I say, well, if you're performing anti-science and you're a scientist, or you went to school to be a scientist and you're performing anti-science and not science, then clearly there is an agenda. It's just that it's a mysterious one. We don't know why he's lying and slandering and libeling this project. He's lying about this project. We don't know. But there is an agenda. It's just, we don't know what it is. And I'm very sad to know that there is an agenda. I'm very sad to know that there is a Robert Schoch out there, and he still has Graham Hancock's ear. He still has Walter Cruttendon's ear to some extent, as far as I know. Walter Cruttendon wrote a book called Lost Star, which demonstrates quite well that we are in a binary relationship with Sirius, and that every about 26,000 years they go around each other. So it's a binary star system. Most star systems are binary or trinary. They're not. It's rare to find one star by itself. And so Walter Cruttendon, in his book Lost Star, demonstrated this. I read it back in, I don't know, maybe five years ago, something like that. When was it? 6 years ago. And I wrote to him and I said, hey, I want to write a screenplay about your discovery, and just based on that, and just have it be like a love story, and have the metaphor of the two suns work for the two people finding each other. You know, so Walter would have a love story in there with someone and they're revolving around each other. And we talked a few times about that, and he was all for it. He wasn't able to fund it, so it sort of got into the back burner. And then I found out that Robert Schoch had his ear and was his friend, and I was like, because I'd sent Walter my article about the Bosnian Pyramids, and he wouldn't read it because he said, no, Robert Schoch's my friend. He says there are no pyramids in Bosnia, so I'm not going to read your article. And I was like, really? My 60-page article with hundreds of photos and video, aerial photography, aerial video? You're not going to read that because you have wine with and have dinner with a guy named Robert Schoch who uses anti-science and who I proved uses anti-science in my article? And he's like, yeah. He just wouldn't read the stuff. He wouldn't look at anything. So, but I'm wearing him down. Walter Cruttendon, if you're watching this video, I'm wearing you down. And eventually Robert Schoch will no longer have your ear. And Graham Hancock too. Graham Hancock might be the last one to see, or to admit. He already sees, but he hasn't admitted it publicly yet, that Robert Schoch is a hoaxer, a liar, a defamer, a libeler, and a slanderer. And not a scientist. Absolutely 100% not a scientist. Robert Schoch is not a scientist. What he is, I don't know, but he's a soft-spoken snake, is what I would call him. And if he wasn't trying to destroy human history, and if he hadn't perturbed the search for the truth about our past for 10 years, purposely, I wouldn't be angry. But I am angry because he has thrown so many people off the track and destroyed humane and reasonable conversations all across the internet with his shock bots, as I call them, the people who just believe everything he says and enter the conversation and say, well, Robert Schoch said it's natural, and that's the end of the conversation. The people who come in with enthusiasm and excitement about new discoveries, like the Yonaguni Monument or the Bosnian Pyramids, are shut down immediately by the shock bots. So Robert Schoch is responsible for a hellish amount of nonsense and diversionary bullshit on the internet and elsewhere. And he is responsible, period. There is no one else responsible. So his soft-spoken style, oh, it's just me, Robert Schoch, talking in my soft voice, and everything's fine, and you gotta believe me because I'm a scientist. And that's all just bullshit. It's a cover. And one day we will find out what it is. It might be after Robert dies. I mean, it might not be for 100 years until we find out who's been funding him or who's been, who's, who's been telling him to lie. We might not know. Okay, now we have serious amounts of structural stone or concrete in this structure. Right there, boom. I'm going to get a wide shot real quick of that. Let me just get a wide shot of this and a wide shot of that. Let's go in and see this stuff. Concrete or stone, hard to tell. Artificial stone, hard to tell from here. Just getting photos. Too steep for me to look at, but you know what? Some of these go all the way almost down to the crevice up there, so we'll be able to look at these. I'm excited. And I'm going to stop talking about you know who, because obviously it gets my blood pressure up. Somebody who's ignorant does not get my blood pressure up. Somebody who purposely misinforms, who slanders good scientists, really makes me mad. And that is the very definition of Robert Schoch. My feeling is that, let me just quickly sum up and then I'll be done talking about this idiot. He will, within the next 6 months, he will write to Semir Osmanagic and say, hey, there's been a big misunderstanding and I'm going to come out and check it out again, because there's no way that anyone can any longer deny that there are pyramids in Bosnia. So he's going to see that. He's going to make a fool of Graham Hancock, who's been covering for him all this time, because Graham will have to then say, oh, yeah, there are pyramids, I saw them, I just didn't say anything because Robert Schoch's my friend. And that's going to be totally embarrassing. So Robert Schoch's going to totally fuck Graham Hancock over to save his own skin, as he used Graham Hancock and others for years to cover for him and say nothing about what they found here. Graham came here last year and has said absolutely nothing about what he found. And I know for a fact that, well, I can't really say it, it's private, but Graham did find pyramids here. I know that, and I'm not going to say how I know that, but he did, and he will not speak about it. Why? Because Robert Schoch is his friend, and Graham keeps talking about how Robert's his friend, and anytime he talks about Robert Schoch, he doesn't say, and my colleague, Robert Schoch, he says, my friend. Oh, really? Who gives a fuck if he's your friend? Is he your colleague? Good. Oh, he's a scientist too? Good. He's an independent researcher? Fantastic. That's good to know. He's your friend? Who gives a fuck? You know? It really pisses me off every time he says Robert Schoch's my friend. So anyway, Robert's gonna come out to Bosnia soon, is my prediction. And he'll say, yeah, there are pyramids here, and he'll get on TV and people will be like, Robert Schoch has discovered pyramids in Bosnia, just like with the rainwater erosion on the Sphinx. I mean, Robert Schoch did not discover rainwater erosion on the Sphinx, or flood erosion, whatever the erosion is. That was discovered by Rene Schwaller de Lubitz. And John Anthony West used that discovery to then, as an inspiration to bring Robert Schoch out to confirm that with his Yale PhD. It's not like Robert Schoch knows something about geology that other people don't know. I mean, erosion is erosion. You don't have to be a genius or a PhD to know what erosion is. But people believe a PhD, and they say, oh, he's a guy from Yale with a PhD? Said there's rainwater erosion on the Sphinx? My gosh, there must be rainwater erosion on the Sphinx. And then so Robert Schoch takes credit for it, just like he took credit for Graham Hancock's notion about the Tropic of Cancer moving slightly over time near Yonaguni Jima, which is where the Yonaguni Monument is, and that's why the Yonaguni Monument is no longer quite on the Tropic of Cancer, is because the line moved. And then Robert Schoch took that, he stole that idea without crediting Graham. And Graham, who's supposed to be his friend, said nothing. In fact, Graham even wrote about it as if it was totally fine. He said, yeah. And then Robert took my idea, and he's written about it too. And he didn't say, and didn't credit me. He's just totally fine with being raped by Robert Schoch. He's just totally fine with it. No problem, rape me. If you're a scientist, you have to credit other scientists with what they have done before, because that is science. The history of science is science. That's how you know what has been proved. I mean, you have to follow the story, the history of science, You can't just say, oh, I came from out of nowhere and I did my own thing and I discovered everything. That's what Robert Schoch tries to do. What a jackass. He'll come to Bosnia, he'll say, yeah, there are pyramids, and the world will just lay down before him and say, Robert Schoch says there's pyramids in Bosnia. Oh my goodness, there must be pyramids here. You know, he'll come out and do a press conference. He won't do much excavation, he won't do much walking around, he won't do much of anything. But he'll come out and say, yeah, there are pyramids here. He'll stand by some stones that volunteers who he slandered took 2 or 3 weeks to excavate. And he'll say, and he'll try to take credit for the Bosnian Pyramid. That's what's going to happen, guaranteed. That's 100% guaranteed. There's no other possibility. And he'll be all friendly to Samir, and, oh, it was all a big misunderstanding, and I didn't mean all those things, in his soft-spoken voice. And he'll have wine with, he and his wife will have wine with Samir and Sabina, try to make everything better. And then he'll be the star again, and so that's what he wants. He wants to be the star, and there's no way for him to be the star when every single person who comes out here, except for Graham, realizes, yeah, there are pyramids in Bosnia. So Robert must be wrong. So anyone who comes out here realizes that. So little by little, Robert loses his support, and then he'll just have no one. The only one he has now is Walter and Graham and a couple other names I'm not going to mention because I don't want to make too many enemies right now. But I don't really know the full extent of what people's opinions are now. It'll really just be speculation. But I have knowledge of what Graham Hancock is thinking. And that's because he emailed me several times. Very angrily, by the way. Because I was bold enough to comment on one of his videos and to give links to information. Ooh, it's terrible. Anyway, I will try to get up. I mean, I'm documenting huge pieces of concrete and not saying anything about it. Let me just get close in on this. Hey, we're almost to the top of this structure. See, Robert Schoch was good for something. He kept us occupied and stuff while we climbed almost to the top of this amazing structure. Let's see if I can get through here. I mean, this is pretty much what you do as a kid. You're out in nature and you're running around and you're climbing hills, and this is fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. I hope you get the feeling of the excitement it is for me, even though I go off on my occasional tirade about you-know-who, and we'll be done with him. There's so much beauty in the world, so much goodness. A lot of it radiates from one man, Semir Osmanagic, who is an incredibly good person, an incredibly tolerant person, a really good scientist. He's got a great memory for facts. And as a videographer, even though I'm an amateur, I've done a lot of videos with a lot of people just pointing the camera in their face, and you know what? Samir is one of the most knowledgeable, on the spot, knowledgeable, charismatic, and coherent speakers I've ever videotaped. And when I videotape Samir, if I say, hey Samir, let's do this quick video of something like we did one on sacred geometry. And I just grabbed him at Rovne Tunnel. I said, let's go up here 75 meters. We'll get the valley behind you, the valley of the pyramids behind you. And if you could just do a quick thing on sacred geometry of the valley, where the relationships between the structures speak about sacred geometry numbers, then that'd be great. And he kind of goes, okay, you know, he said okay. And he was busy, you know, but he said, yeah, I'll take 5 minutes out to do that. And so basically impromptu, on the day, in the moment, I videotaped him one time giving a 2 or 3 minute talk about sacred geometry, and he was brilliant. He was brilliant. It was absolutely phenomenal, and he just doesn't, I've never seen him make a mistake. He just doesn't make mistakes. He's got the big picture, he lays out the big picture, he makes it really easy to understand what he's talking about. He's got the details, he's got the numbers. He says it in a really charismatic way, but not like a celebrity actor kind of way where he's trying to get you to love him or something. He just has like a really mellow charisma and a confidence that is really incredible. There's not much evidence of modern people coming up here in modern times. There's probably not much reason for people to come up here. So we're still climbing toward the south and a little bit west, which is basically on the back end of structure number 2, which I think is a pyramid, in which we found lots and lots and lots and lots, maybe 150 concrete construction stones or concrete construction blocks as evidence for that theory that it is a pyramid. And lots of concrete in the crevice itself, just cementing it down, super strong, knitting the two hills or the two structures together, and making sure that water erosion wouldn't slowly erode the structures on those faces, the bottom of those faces. So that's exactly what we would do in modern times. We would make sure in a crevice that the bottom of the crevice was somehow concreted in really strong, so there's nowhere that the water could get underneath and perturb the soil. Exactly what we would do, and that's exactly what they did. And this looks kind of like yeah, that's the path right there. This is the path. So instead of going straight up, I'm just gonna, because I'm a little bit tired. I feel okay, but I'm gonna make sure that I just want to get up there and maybe slow and steady wins the race this time. Okay, here's something. It's pretty steep here, and now the steep slope affords us a look at this incredible bunch of, wow. And just in that little crevice there, there's a lot of soil, roots. Who knows how long it took to get that much soil there, just by a leaf landing there, a leaf landing there, a leaf landing there. And then the roots come in, because there's a little plant there that got in. So I brushed away 100 or 1,000 or who knows how many years of accumulated soil just in that little gap there. But this is a big piece of, you know what? Guess what? Concrete. Big piece. And where there is one, you got to think there's gonna be more. Whoa, here's a piece right here. Yeah. And here's a piece that came off of that. This could be the perfect sample. That just came off of this. I think it was there, or was it here? Oh, was it there? Anyway, it just came off of this. I felt it fall down. So that is a piece off of this piece, and this piece is, you know, clearly concrete. It's right here with this other piece of what is obviously concrete. So this was here. Let me just make a little photo of that. Let's see, just so we know where the sample's from. Oops, okay. All right, and I'm gonna put this in my pack. If you're wandering in the woods, you never know for sure, unless there's a path that you're aware of. More concrete. Here's something, I don't know what it is. Is that concrete? So my video cut out for a second, but I just turned it back on and retraced a few of my steps. So I'm coming along here and I see, you know, I'm headed east along what I think is the top of structure number 2, pyramid number 2. And I see this incredible thing. Absolutely amazing. And what this is a big piece, huge piece of concrete. So there's my foot, and it goes all the way to there. From there to there. One piece. So let me take a quick photo of that. These bugs are coming into the lens. So this is incredible because, as I was saying, whether this is a hill, sort of natural hill, structurally helping the pyramid below it to stay strong, and then they put a little bit of construction stones in there to keep erosion from happening, or whether this whole hill was built behind the pyramid, or whether this is actually part of the pyramid, there are construction stones here. So we know that it was to some degree built. We know that. And the question is, how much of it was built? How much of it was naturally here? And then, of course, and here's much more evidence of it being built. Wow. This is amazing. Wow, and this is what looks to be above structure number 2. It looked like the pyramid flattened out. Structure number 2. And then so that's hard. That's not like little stones like in modern day concrete. The stones would just flip out. These are strongly in there, probably 34,000 years old. Just a guess, based on the estimates for the carbon dating for fossilized leaves found in between stone concrete slabs in the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. So if these were built at the same time, then this is 34,000-year-old concrete, approximately. And it's still strong. Let me just get a nice photo of this massive piece of concrete. And there's more here too. 2 pieces there, blam. And bam. Let me come over here to get a little photo of this. A little closer. Because we can see that. This is amazing. This is amazing. Wow. Concrete. I'm just going to take a shot like that. Oh my goodness. Absolutely massive. Look at this. Oh, wow. Wow. And again, we got a tree associated with it. So that's kind of interesting. It might not be the tree roots that are bringing it up, but it might be. Another piece of concrete. It's just amazing to know that this was built by crazy people or aliens, who knows. Let's just get that word out there. Did people have the energy and know how to do this? To build concrete that would last for an estimated 34,000 years? Maybe. If we figured out all the things we figured out in the last few hundred years, then certainly humanity before us in a different cycle could have figured out far more in all the time that it had. Oh, and here's some more concrete. So, but maybe aliens were involved, extraterrestrials, maybe both humans and extraterrestrials. Maybe we are the aliens. Lots of theories. They're all possible. More concrete. Just a little piece sticking out there. We're at the top, yay! So that's west. So I think the top of the Pyramid of Remembering, as I call it, is just over there. That's west. And that kind of goes off the hill down. So I think the structure over there is kind of that away. The top of it. But the top of this thing is right here. And like I say, it could be the top of a pyramid, or it could be which is a step pyramid with one major step in it, or about 2/3 of the way up, or it could be, like I say, a natural hill that was supplemented with concrete, or it could be an entire hill that was built. Jeez, it would be so amazing if that was true, if they built this whole hill. I mean, but the truth is, they're just unstoppably industrious, these ancients, because if you look at the valley where Dr. Semir Osmanagić discovered the original Bosnian pyramids, that whole valley is terraformed. You can see it. So the entire valley may have been built. They may have, in fact, and it would make sense, I mean, it would be probably the easiest thing to do out of all the things they did. They may have, in fact, dictated the level of the degree, of the slope of the river. It makes sense that they did. Here's a little bit of concrete. So that's interesting. Or it could just be a stone, but I think it's concrete. But we will find out. You know what? I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to take one of these as a sample because it's important. This is the top of the structure. Let's find out what's at the top of the structure. And now we're going back toward the Pyramid of Remembering. This is where we stopped when we came up the Pyramid of Remembering. We stopped on the other side of those trees because, and there was that broken tree there, because I couldn't figure out an easy way to get through, and I was so tired and I just went back the other way. So here we are. Here we are. So we know exactly where we are. This is very good. And we were basically where I thought we were before, so we weren't wildly off. Now you gotta wonder how much of this was built, And by the way, I'm going over there. Well, I don't know if I have the energy today. I was gonna try and do 3 pyramids or 3 pyramid-like structures today. There's 2 over there that I wanted to look at. I don't know if it's 1, 2, or if it's 1, 2. That's super tall. I don't know if that's one that I saw before. But there might be 2 or 3 structures over there across a rather wide valley. Whereas this was just a crevice between these 2 over here. No valley whatsoever, 0 valley. There's a wide valley on the other side between Pyramid of Remembering and any other structures. Let's go to let's see, south is that away. Sun is there. We're basically going to the farthest edge, farthest top, highest edge of the back of the structure number 2, pyramid number 2. And that is good. Here's a piece of something. Maybe I should take that as a sample. That's concrete. That's concrete right there. I'm gonna take that as a sample also. Here's another interesting looking thing. That is really cool looking. It's cool looking because, first of all, it's like a pentagonal thing. And second of all, it's got that ring in the middle. It's really interesting. As it would if you cooked something in a sort of a what do you call it? In a way that where the temperature was evenly spaced, and then it would crack out. If it cracked, it would crack out in an even way. It's really cool looking. I wish I could take that with me. I mean, I could take it with me. A little heavy. It's very cool looking. Jeez, I'd love to take that. Let's see if I can. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it for now, I think. All right, because I got good photos of it. So we've got construction stones up there, construction concrete there, construction concrete in the middle of the thing. Then we come over here, there's one on the left, and there's one just on the left here. You know what it is, so I'm not going to tell you. Getting close in to get the grain. Yeah, and then you can see also that one. Another one is not quite as big, but there it is, bam. I'll get over to that in a second, but let's just get some close-ups of this, the mother lode here. This is gorgeous. Absolutely fantastic. Wow. Yeah, construction concrete. Here it is. This will be good. See there, it looks like concrete. Right there, bam. So you've got these little pieces embedded in, but then you get to something like that, and it looks like sandstone, but it could be clay stone or whatever. But my theory is that if they're using clay as a binder for the concrete on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, actually, as I'm talking, I'm going to get out my measuring tape for this piece here. And the binder is so strong that it makes it the strongest concrete ever measured, ancient or modern, by far. 133 megapascals is what we have so far. And that's just what we could measure, and the concrete below that is actually stronger because it had less water absorption, so it's probably, maybe it could be up to 150 megapascals. 89. Corner to corner, it's about 108, something like that. So that's pretty big. But if this clay, the clay that binds the concrete on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, can be that hard as a binder, it can also be hard as binding to itself, which is, I think, what it's doing here. I think because there's no stones, like in concrete. I mean, there's a few tiny little stones that you see, but it's basically, I think, just clay, and they might have added sand in there, a little bit of sand to make it look like sandstone to us. Fascinating, huh? Amazing. This is in the ravine, just slightly on the eastern side of the ravine, which is what we were trying to prove existed, and we did prove it. Serious piece of concrete there. Boom. We'll get close in just to see what we're looking at. Bam. And bam. You can see those three pieces. 1, 2, 3. This is the far right piece. I probably documented those from down there, but I'm going to document them from up here too, just for kicks. I'm just going to walk along the side of the ravine. And if we did walk up this ravine, then this is still good because we can see what's up here. And just pieces of concrete sitting around, you know. More concrete, bam. More concrete. Okay. Bird's eye view of that. And wow, pretty incredible. And whew, huge. Oh, and yeah, huger. Let's go over there and yeah, it's inclined in. It's huge, massive. Don't know what the heck that is right there, but all right. Oh, incredible. So there's your context for that ravine. You can see how, because it's really super steep there, really steep. So at the base of that super steep slope, they've got this concrete. There's that. Here's more evidence there. Let's take a photo of this beautiful sloped ravine that is clearly artificial. Right here, that's a nice sample. I'm going to take that as a sample. Blam. So just coming down here, and then we see this right on the edge of the ravine is this tree that's been cut, and right here, that's where I got the sample. Concrete, where the moss hasn't taken it over, bam. And just to see the grain. I'm not even documenting every piece of concrete I see, I'm just... Here is a huge piece of concrete. Way up here. And I see another piece too, actually, that's... Yeah, and really close to show the... There it is. There's another piece up here. Oh yeah. Concrete, structural, freaking concrete. You gots to like it. You gots to. They're completely different texture. Oh, then there's a third piece, a little small piece there. Really, really casual texturing, and then really beautiful, smooth texturing here. Wow, it's incredible. Yeah. I got 3 minutes left on this card, and then I'll go to internal memory. But bam, nice. Whoa, big pieces of concrete up there as we're going up. Boom. Okay, bam. Let's just get the one piece. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Okay. Boom. 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 So I've been taking photos of this guy, right? But we have another, even more massive piece of concrete up there.